Hi there, gorgeous! Hope you're having a fabulous day. If you caught the video that I published last week on the Sephora haul, this video is reviewing all of those products in one video. So I'll show you what they look like in an up-close application. I've also conducted a thorough wear test, 2 to be exact, because I'm testing out 2 very different foundations in today's video. And I will let you know if anything here is worth getting or not. So I literally just got Gia and I was gonna say Ace asleep, but Ace is woken up here. He's in the studio with me right now, and I trust that Gia is going to sleep through her nap. She usually takes a 2-hour nap, but Ace is pretty unpredictable because now he is awake, so we'll see how far we get through this video. And Jet is in preschool, in case you were wondering, and this is the first video since Ace was born that I've had both kids to myself without any help, no one watching them while I'm filming, so hopefully we can get through this. He's happy just watching me right now, which is good. And it is freezing in the studio. I only have air conditioning out here. I do not have heat, so I have a little heater running to keep Ace and I warm, although he's pretty bundled up in all of his blankets, so I think he's pretty content. But anyway, if you hear a noise in the background, that's what you're hearing. Starting with that Violet Voss palette. Oh my gosh, this is so stinking beautiful. By the way, I forgot to mention it in my last wear test. I have already applied my eyeshadow primer. Today I used the Elizabeth Mott Thank Me Later. This is excellent stuff. I do apply it before all of my eyeshadow applications. If not that one, then I am wearing an eyeshadow primer. And I already did set my eyes with the Wet n Wild Brulee eyeshadow. Well, when I initially saw this palette, I was instantly attracted to these turquoise shades right here. So I'm going to take the shade Living first. I'm living for this eyeshadow, my gosh. And I am going to apply, oh my goodness, I'm going to apply this on the lid. Oh, that is so pretty. I'm loving it. It matches my wall behind me. I do want to try one of these glitter shades, so I'm going with the one called Money down here at the bottom. They didn't swatch very well, so we will see how it applies. Now, there is a lot of fallout on my face, as you can see there, but it's not as bad as I initially expected it to be. I am layering it a couple times. The next shade I want to take from this palette is the one called Parties. It's the blue that's right next to that light turquoise. And I'm going to use this to blend up into the crease. But only to define the crease. I'm going to add another color on top of this to blend it out. And then to blend out the deeper crease color there, I'm going in with the shade Cocktails, which is this matte warm brown right here. Take a little bit and use that to blend out the edges towards the brow. Are you happy? And these eyeshadows are really easy to work with, which is nice to see. I'm not struggling at all. You having fun over there? Oh, that is so pretty. I'm loving it. It's really, wow. I am going to go ahead and apply a primer. I'm using the Bare Minerals Prime Time Original Foundation Primer, and I'm only going to apply this on 1/2 of my face. I bought 2 foundations, if you recall from my haul video. But I'm only going to be testing them out one at a time because I do want to test them with a primer on one side and then using just the foundation on the other side. Some people see that as not a good way to test foundations, just wearing them all by themselves, but I have many foundations from the drugstore, I might add, that wear really well all by themselves without a primer. So I like to test high-end foundations, especially with no primer. So we'll let that dry and continue on with the eyes here. The next product I have to test out is from Huda Beauty. This is the Life Liner. And from what I recall with this one, I think it was a actual eyeliner on one end, so you can see it there. And then I think you get a liquid on the other end. Yes, there it is. Kind of goopy. It's got some chunkiness to it. Great pigment. Bless you. So far, so good. It is a rather wet formula though, because when I blinked my eye on this side, it transferred down to the bottom lash line. Next product I have to test out is one I'm really excited to test out, and this one is from Fenty Beauty. It's the Brow MVP, I think, in the shade True Red. I'm interested to see the color too. I did swatch it, but you never know until you get it on what it's really going to look like. Well, it's got a great application to it. Oh man. I just opened up where the spoolie would be on the pencil, and that's the kind of brush that they've given you. Like that NYX Fill-In Fluff pencil that had the same kind of little paddle brush on it, but we'll see if theirs is a little bit better with Fenty Beauty. I did not like NYX's version of it. I know what it is that I like about this. It's like an actual brush, and it works like that too as you're brushing the product through, and I think my brows look really great after using that little brush. The NYX one isn't that great. It doesn't function like a brush at all. It more or less just moves the product around the brows without really brushing through. Went ahead and added my lashes. These are from my lash line, Inky Minky Lashes, in the style Do You Boo Boo. If you're interested in them, I'll have them linked for you below. Moving on to the face, I am going to apply this foundation from Milk Makeup. This is their Blur Matte Foundation, and the shade that I'm using here is Ivory. Someone is asleep. I'm rocking his chair with my foot, trying to keep him asleep so I can finish this video. This is so pigmented. Oh my goodness. I think I'm about to wipe some of this off. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Now this does have a scent to it too that I'm noticing. It's, I'm so bad with scents. Almost floral in nature, but it's very detectable the second that it came out of the bottle. I could smell it instantly. It's not a bad smell. It's just there. Coverage is really, really beautiful. From this side to this side, you can see what I mean. Yeah, we'll see what this looks like in sunlight later on. I'm afraid that you're going to be able to tell a difference between my face and my neck. I only have to pick up Jet from school today, so it really doesn't matter. But no trouble blending it in. I mean, it sinks right into the skin. It's undetectable once you do blend it in, and it gives a beautiful finish after you're done. And for under the eyes, I'm also testing out another product from Milk Makeup, and this is their Flex Concealer in the shade Fair. Hoping this is a match. It really looked like it was going to be a match in store, but now that I've got it home, I really don't know. We'll find out. I'm only going to apply a very small amount under the eyes. Okay, so it looks darker in the bottle as opposed to when you actually get it out. And I remember that in the store too, looking at the bottle thinking, that's way too dark for me. Ooh, that's pretty. One light layer under the eye. I'm liking that. I am going to be setting my whole face, but I'm going to start by setting just the under eye area because I have a cream product that I want to apply on the cheeks. And I'm using the Coty Airspun translucent powder to set my under eye area and then the remainder of the face after I'm done. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I know so many people who've seen my videos are tired of hearing this, but for those who don't know, I use the Coty powder to set when I'm using foundations I've never tested because it's a neutral powder. It won't compensate for a bad foundation. So if the foundation is bad, the powder will not help it to wear longer, but if the foundation is good, then the powder is really good also. So it's just one of those great testing powders that I've discovered. On to that face product I was talking about. This is from Huda Beauty. This is the Tantour Contour and Bronzer Cream in the shade Fair. And I did it again. Oh well. That is what we are working with here today. To apply that, I'm going to use this little brush from Wet n Wild, taking a small amount first because we know, whew, with these high-end products, sometimes you can get really good pigment. Yes. See what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to take my Artis oval brush and use that to blend it. And now I'm going to do a light dusting of the Coty Airspun powder all over the face to help set everything here. Yes, I am so excited to try this next product. This is from Jouer. It is their blush duo in the shades Marigold and Rose Petal. And I'm thinking I want to start with Rose Petal, see how that looks. Woo! I didn't have that much on the brush. And that is gorgeous. Wow. Gives your skin such a soft flush of color. This reminds me a lot actually of my CoverGirl Instant Cheek and Refined Rose. That's the one that I use all the time, but this is very similar to that. It's so silky. Last product I had to test out is from Patrick Ta, and this is his Silky Lip Creme in the shade She's Unapologetic. And thank you to everyone who informed me. He is a celebrity makeup artist. I figured that might be who he is, but I'd never heard of him before. Only so much I can keep up with in a given day. Very pigmented. Very creamy too. Soft, smooth, silky, like the name says. There is a bit of a scent to it. Minty, very minty, but you don't get that mentholated feeling on the lips when you apply it, which I don't usually like at all. Well, hot dog, we made it through this video with both kids still asleep. Well, one was in and out of sleep here, but now he is really asleep, so I can go get caught up on my laundry. I live in a perpetual state of laundry. I digress. I'm going to go ahead and wear this face all day. I'm also going to be testing out the Bobbi Brown powder foundation tomorrow, and I will have a follow-up for you at the end of the video on how this one wears with its own wear test separately to show you also. So fingers crossed that we find some good stuff here. So, on the day that I was wearing that makeup, I wore it for a total of 12 hours, and I'll go through each product individually to give you my final review on all of them. But this is what my face looked like after a straight 12 hours of wear. Beginning with the eyeshadow palette, excellent all the way around. This one held up beautifully all day long. I didn't struggle with muddying or fading, and the eyeshadows were as true as when I had first applied them. Huda's Lifeliner. This one was okay. It wasn't my most favorite liquid eyeliner. It did dry down fully matte, which is what I love to see in a liquid liner, but by the end of the day, I noticed some cracking on the inner corners of my eyes. It was really hard to pick it up on camera, and I had to look really closely to see it, but it was still there. And I've got drugstore liquid eyeliners that go upwards of 12 hours and do not move, so I'm not going to pay that amount of money and struggle with that issue. I'm just saying. The Fenty Beauty Brow MVP in the shade True Red. Love the quality of this pencil. Bar none, excellent. Easy to blend, easy to work with, lasted all day. Didn't really care for the color personally, so I might go back and exchange this for a different shade, and I think that I would like that a little bit better. I just feel like this was a little bit too red for my liking. Milk Makeup's foundation. Unfortunately, I got the wrong shade. And I will tell you, it was really hard to pick a shade when I was in store shopping for this foundation, simply because the next shade up from the one that I used in the video was much too yellow for my complexion. And then the one up from that was way too white. So I don't think I'm going to be able to find a shade match from this line, but I will tell you the foundation itself wore extremely well. And I was happy with both sides of my face, with the primer, without the primer. So if you're looking for a new one to try and you can find a shade match in this line, I would say it's a really beautiful one worth looking into. I personally did not care for the Milk Makeup Flex Concealer. This one broke apart, cracked, creased under my eyes horribly. Did not look good at the end of the day, so it's not going to be one that I'm going to recommend to you or one that I would ever wear again myself. The Jouer Blush Duo. New favorite. Love, 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 love. Did I say that I loved it? I love it. I feel like the colors are so complementary to my complexion. The pigment is crazy good. Beautiful all the way around. Huda Beauty's Tantour Contour and Bronzer Cream. Now, this is a good product, great quality, easy to blend, easy to work with. It just wasn't one that I swooned over, and not one that I feel like I would be using on a continuous basis. And that's generally how I look to products and how I'm going to, what am I trying to say? I can't think. Okay, basically what I'm trying to say is that if I'm not going to be using it in the future, that's how I can tell you whether or not I liked it. And this is not going to be one that I could see myself reaching for again. So while it's a good quality product and all that, it just wasn't my favorite. And I can't exactly pinpoint why. I think it was the color. It was just a little bit too orange for my liking. And that may be what threw me off about this one. The Atrick Ta Silky Lip Créme. Oh my goodness gracious almighty. Now, I did not like the color of the shade that I used in the video. It was a little too brown for me and not my favorite after I had been wearing it all day. But in the wear test, you can see it on my lips still. I'll show it to you again. It was extremely vibrant at the end of the day, and that is with eating and drinking. I was amazed at how this held onto my lips, and I am definitely going to go back and look at the other colors that he offers within this line, because this is some of the best lip product. It's one of the best lip products I've ever tried. And that brings us to the Bobbi Brown Skin Weightless Powder Foundation. So I tested this one out on a completely separate day from the wear test that I showed you already, and it applied beautifully. I tested it with that same Bare Minerals primer that I used with the Milk Makeup in the previous wear test. I really liked the initial application with it. I did feel like the color was a little too light for my skin tone, but the coverage and how it appeared on the skin was really nice. Unfortunately, after wearing this one for a total of 8 hours, 8 hours, this is what my face looked like. I'm gonna say it again. I've got drugstore powders that go longer than 8 hours. Catrice Cosmetics makes some of the best long-lasting powders I've ever tried. So the fact that this $50 powder foundation cannot go that long, I ain't too happy. But a lot of you were mentioning that Makeup Forever also came out with a new powder foundation, so definitely one to try for a future video. If you've been looking for some new products to try, I hope that you found this helpful today. If you're interested in any of the ones that I featured in today's video, I'll have all of them listed and linked for you below. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I look forward to seeing you again next time. The Fenty Beauty I cannot talk today. MVP. It did dry down fully matte. As I stepped outside in natural daylight, so you can see the difference in what the... Hi, Gia.